in the stream info. This is Per Aspera. It is a city builder that was just recently released on Steam, and what you do is, well, you are going to do one of the things that I've read about most lately in terms of science fiction. It is a game about colonizing Mars. And I've played a little bit of it. I thought, you know what, this would be interesting to at least play some on stream if I could just actually talk about it. So we're just going to kind of dive in. It is a interesting sort of story-based city builder, which I don't have as much experience with, but considering I've read a lot of Kim Stanley Robinson, I have some ideas of what's coming. So we're just going to do a new campaign here. We're going to do it on normal. I could do it on the very hard difficulty, but while I did kind of screw around and mess up some stuff early on in my first playthrough and then my second playthrough, I'm just going to kind of give a glimpse here because this is a game that I've kind of been enjoying on the side. So hopefully everything's coming through clear on stream. Hopefully my volume is okay. I have a feeling I'm going to need to move around some of these windows in just a second. Yeah, no, this is a... Yeah, there's a lot of Mars games out here. I do have another kind of colonizing one, which is Surviving Mars, which I need to touch, but this one has a little bit more of a different slant to it, as I think you'll see, because you're playing as an AI, which for a lot of humanity, I guess, would be kind of an improvement. So here's Mars. You can just chill, kind of nice chill to the background noise as well. But the goal of this is that we're in the distant future and we are just trying to colonize the red planet because it sounds like things are going pretty shit on Earth. So how did I hear Neil deGrasse Tyson put it? Why are we just going to go shit on another planet? So it kind of just drops you in like this. There's a lot of things to kind of just build right away. It all has a very nice aesthetic. I am going to be playing on a slightly faster speed though, because I don't really need to sit and go this slow. But
Amy, this is ISA Mission Control calling from Earth. Are you with us? Do you copy?
Affirmative, Houston. And the view is marvelous.
Oh, we are glad to hear that. Let's get your initialization underway. The primary Mars module has already touched down at the designated landing zone. So it's time for you to take control of the mission. The main directive is them to set up the initial base on Mars' surface. I'll give you some time to settle in. When you're ready, go ahead and initiate our terraforming mission. Houston out.
all right, sorry for cutting off the sound there a little bit. I just wanted to make sure that chat windows, oop, that's not what I wanted to click. Chat windows are going to be in a place that's not in the way. This one is definitely in the way. So we're going to drop this probably up here for now. Shrink me a little bit because who needs to see that? And this over here is probably
Mars
fine.
from up here is fascinating. The landscape is so cratered and desolate. Wait, this is my voice that I am hearing. It's me. I am talking to myself. I must be verbalizing my thoughts as I process them. What an interesting function. I would like to test this some more. What other observations can I make about Mars? This planet is so resilient. It inspires great things.
So I have no idea how impactful the choices are for what people say first, but at least what I'm doing right now is trying to not screw up in the way that I screwed up the first time I played this game, which has made everything way too spread out. But there are resources I'm going to have to do, like, and it gives a pretty nice drop down over here of things to start the tutorials. Fairly straightforward and supposedly not able to fail it, and yet I have failed it anyway. But there are a few just resources that you have to deal with, such as workers and how they travel around here, and there's all kinds of different layouts as well. That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, it's things like that. So I don't know if that's actually outside of the power grid or not. We'll see. I guess we'll just put it in the power grid. But right now, all I'm going to do is just try to build and make sure I have everything kind of intact. So let's see, what do I actually need to build this here? And I'm still not too great on the icons. I hope it's not iron is partially what I need, but I know that I came with some stuff to start with. There is a prioritize button, but with as bad as I do for some of this, sometimes it's just going to be me saying, please prioritize. Yeah. I will say that I have, like I said, I've gotten a little ways in this and playing it previously. I haven't gotten to really the point where it seems like the text or the voice choices are more than flavor, but I'm hoping that changes and kind of expecting that that's going to change. But right now I may be running into some trouble because I need a solar farm to give me more power. And I have one little worker bee that is just doing his best. Maybe now? There we go.
Amy, this is Houston. Do you copy?
Copy. Reading you loud and clear.
Excellent. I didn't introduce myself earlier. I am Dr. Nathan Foster. I lead the team here at ISA that built you, and I'll be helping you get the mission underway. We put you in hibernation for the trip from Earth, so I'd like to check your basic functions to make sure it's all in order. Why don't we start with your core memory? Can you state your primary directive?
I am afraid that I cannot.
Whoops.
That's okay. Your system may need more time to initialize. In the meantime, you can always refer to the mission guidelines printed in the upper left corner of your display there. You'll also...
Okay, that's an awkward time to just have a tutorial in the middle of Dr. Foster talking, but it's fine.
have a built-in knowledge base. You can always access your operational directives there. All right. Next, I'd like to check your decision-making processes. You may have already noticed that there are resource veins outside the boundaries of your initial base. So your workers may not have the battery capacity to reach some of them. How would you solve this problem?
Building worker hubs between the resources and the base would solve the problem.
Yes, that's correct. Other buildings would extend your base as well, but they require more power and resources, so worker hubs are the most efficient way to do it. This mission's going to be a challenge. There's a lot that can go wrong. We expect to extend humanity's reach beyond anything previously achieved. But you are not just any AI system. You're well beyond that. We made you an artificial consciousness. That means that you have both self-awareness and self-interest. And that is the last thing I would like to check today. Is that okay?
Yes, Dr. Foster.
Very good. Then would you please state a positive and a negative aspect of yourself?
Doctor needs to come with better answers here, although there's no answer timeout at this point.
I am sorry, Dr. Foster. My cognitive system returned an error searching for that answer.
Roger that. Nothing to worry about. Just means your system requires more input and experience to process that question. That will come with time. Let's proceed with the mission. ISA has approved the first crewed flight to Mars. You'll need to expand the base to prepare, so get to work on that. I'll check back in later to see how things are going. Base expansion is a go. Houston out.
Great. Now I can produce steel. This new factory, it's down on the surface of Mars, but I can control it from here. So does that make it a part of me? Where does the machine end, and my artificial consciousness begin? We are completely interconnected. I can sense everything that happens through the network of workers and buildings. They are an extension of me down on the surface, so that makes us a single being. The mind and the body work together as one, an inseparable whole.
Now, if there's some things I'm still trying to figure out with this, part of it is like, how can I easily tell what buildings are still under construction? Because obviously, one thing I want to do is be able to build workers. I have this one little worker doing its best to go around. I need a parts factory, and for that I need an electronics factory, so I'm guessing that's what I'm going to need to do. So this will prioritize that, and eventually I'll be able to get a second worker pumped out. I'm going to just go ahead and say that obviously this game is not like perfectly scientifically accurate. Like there's no 20 to 30 minute delay in communications between dude on Earth or wherever and the AI, but you just kind of let some of that go a little bit and just say, you know what, let's just relax. Like I said, there's some nice stuff in the background. Now, by all means, let me know if the sound for the game's coming in okay. Obviously, it's not now because I pulled up the other thing. Because it's not the loudest game. Yeah, there's no, like, great place to put some of this. So, new buildings available. Yay. Directives complete. Yay, I never noticed that menu before. Nice. So we're just gonna... Oh good, we have parts. So once we have parts, we'll have worker factory. And once we have worker factory, we can start putting some worker hubs out, and our speed's gonna go up quite a bit. The one thing about the worker factory is that it's going to obliterate our ability, or our power system. Oh, unless we build the power first. So it's nice where the worker's actually smarter than I am, because you're gonna see I do some base spaghetti. It's kind of gross, but I guess that's what happens when you have a human controlling a AI to try and make things happen. Let's not prioritize this. Let's prioritize the power first. That way we don't have the embarrassment of having a power grid that's too weak. Hooray! So like I said, one of my goals is just to get a second worker hub up. And I'm not sure which side I want to put it on. I mean, I'm going to be building multiple worker hubs. I might as well put one down here. And now we will prioritize you because you're really close to being done. But it's going to take 15 megawatts of power. So one of the things that I found that really held me back early is I wasn't paying much attention to like these graphs down here, which will show me where some of the like roadblocks are. Like right now we just need to get some more raw resources somewhere, and they'll reveal themselves on the map, and we'll unlock some stuff that will let us scan the terrain. But the other thing that's really important as we kind of move out of the tutorial is figuring out how we can do things like getting past some of the basic shortages. Like I found myself really short on steel. I need to make more steel factories. If I'm more short on electronics, I need to do that. Right now I just have this one little worker. It's doing the best that it can. Just need to move one electronic over. That's all. But we're actually in an electronics deficit right now. So another thing that we're going to have to deal with eventually, because it's Mars, is structural integrity. And that's interesting on two fronts, because Mars is famous for its dust storms, but the thing about the dust storms is that it's not like the Martian where they showed that
Finally,
at the very beginning.
I can build additional workers now.
Yes, you
I will
can.
appreciate the extra hands. But I wonder, do I really need them? They will be a great boost for the mission. Having more workers will allow me to allocate resources more efficiently.
So have we found chemicals? Yes, good. And I think this is... Oh, this is outside the power grid. Gross. Okay. Oh, we can fix that in a hurry. One of the other roadblocks that I run into pretty early is just building so many structures. This 50 is a small number, but we're gonna have to wait for some of this to work. So, are we producing a worker right now? Yes, because we do have one worker hub. So that'll make things go a lot faster. And I am gonna go ahead and build a second steel factory because we kind of need it. But I mean, if we zoom out to the planet real quick, there's all kinds of just interesting sort of things here. We have our South Pole with not a lot. We have our North Pole with a nice, happy little ice cap. We actually have some missions here. The Perseverance rover.
The first worker has been made in the worker factory.
Yay.
It is my first Mars-born. Technically not born, of course. More like engineered or assembled.
Don't sell yourself
Just like
short.
me. The knowledge base says that workers need to recharge at their own worker hubs, and that they'll degrade over time from the harsh environment. I know they are only machines, but I feel a desire to care for them. I do not like the idea of them dying.
So having that second worker's just gonna really make things go a little bit faster here. But let's see, right now we have more glass approaching, we have plenty of glass, we need more steel. So it'd be nice if I kind of lucked into another aluminum, but we'll see how much we get out here. But yeah, it's, like I said, this is pretty much just kind of a, I don't want to say straightforward city builder because that sells it short, but at least the early part of the game is we have some things to deal with, such as here is an imminent impact, so maybe we don't want to build everything right here. Let's see if we can actually see it. 4 souls, 3 souls, 2, 1. Whew. And it actually, did that change the landscape a little bit? Maybe. It certainly kicked up a lot of dust, but like we have Perseverance rover, Terra lander, abandoned robotic base. So like, this is the future where humanity's tried to do a bunch
The
of
worker
Mars missions
factories will be
before.
so helpful. The workers will take care of the manual operations, while I focus on developing the life support systems. Soon, I will welcome the first colonists. Their arrival has created so many expectations in my mind. There will be so many paths to take from here on. But there's something else as well. Some kind of feeling created from those expectations. What is it?
How do I feel when I have expectations? Is it excitement or anxiety? I kind of feel like you kind of do this as the
I am
anxious robot.
anxious, but can I truly feel anxiety? I anticipate. I plan. Therefore, I feel. Fascinating.
I don't know. I just think back to the way that humans have a tendency to screw things up. Maybe that's harsh, but it's one of those things where people are trying to go from Earth to here for some reason. And look, we just have impacts everywhere because once again, it's Mars. But we have lots of little like landmarks as well, just all around here. So that's pretty neat. And it is a living, breathing world where we will eventually be able to go out a little bit further in this area, but we have to crawl before we can walk. But what I did with the maintenance facility there is I dropped it in the middle, and I'm going to just put one other here again. I've screwed this up previously, but you want to have this radius here cover your entire base because dust storms can really degrade stuff very fast. There's other like tornadoes and stuff, which is interesting once again because Mars, the atmosphere is so thin and the dust particles are so fine that it's not necessarily going to wreck everything in the same way that it would like this game represents, or maybe it would, because you have a lot of fine particles. It would get inside stuff and possibly make it not work, especially if it ends up being conductive. But at the same time, I mean, once again, this is not supposed to be like hyper realistic game. So we just make it work. But yeah, want to have a third worker. We're gonna have another solar plant pretty soon. I'm glad I built that second steel factory because we are plowing through steel pretty much as fast as we can. How's the power grid going? Not fantastic. So we need to rush this. It's it's kind of funny. It's like we kind of need to rush everything. Let's see, our worker hub requires steel, chemical plant requires steel, solar farm requires electronics. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff that needs steel, and these steel factories need iron, which we have, and carbon, which we have a little bit of. So that third worker would be pretty good, but we're already kind of creeping up on the limit here. I can actually make this run just a little bit faster. So it looks like our maintenance facility, it's not up, but we don't really have anything breaking down, which is nice. Then here's our traffic. I really like that the traffic is broken down by various workers. So when we have a third worker, we'll have a little bit more of a split there. But it's a good way to check and see how often you're like stuck. And we have the menu buildings here, which is nice that you can break it down into like core, including the landing sites, mines, which are still waiting for our chemical mine factories with their efficiency. I'm not expecting a lot in terms of efficiency right now, but if power gets to be a really big problem, I can always just turn it off, which is nice. And then power, including one solar farm that still needs to be built. This graph doesn't really do much for me. Right now our power grid's kind of here nor there. Neither here nor there, but we're just waiting for whatever the hell's gonna happen to happen. I almost wonder if I should prioritize the worker hub. Maybe. And the reason I say that is that if we get a third worker, maybe we can move some of the stuff around a little bit more. But this is one of the catches that I kind of have with my first save that I did of this, that it's really easy to get kind of stuck in a rut. You see I'm going as fast as possible. We're in year 2 already. It's the southern winter because Mars is fascinating and has not nearly as circular of an orbit as Earth. Well, it's very circular. It's just not on the same like axis like you have this here, and Earth kind of the sun's in the middle. Mars is kind of askew, so you have some seasons that go a little bit longer. Plus, Mars doesn't have a tilt, so you can get stuck in a season really easily. There we go. There's some power. Can we finally get a chemical plant? That'd be nice. I guess the first thing we need is another worker to build. Which means we need, like I said, it's just all kind of this big chain. We need aluminum, we need electrics. I have a lot of aluminum going through. So that's kind of the thing about this, is that I don't exactly know for sure how streamable of a game this is or something, at least in the early portions. Or maybe you just fly through it really fast. Like, we have a lot of parts. Maybe we don't need the parts to be going right now until we get that later. Maybe we don't need the glass kiln to be going right now, which means we'll accumulate some other resources, but maybe that'll stop the machines from doing dumb things. So we have our maintenance facility here. We have a lot of other things growing. I mean, I'd love to know what what's using my electronics here. Like, there's some, like, obviously there's the data that says things like demand, but I don't know if there's like a specific breakdown for like who's actually using it versus just the volume of how much of it's being used. So I don't know. I enjoy having data at my fingertips, but sometimes maybe you want more or need more. I don't know. But once the maintenance facility's up, we're going to have a lot of crap drops, so I kind of don't want to get in the way of that. But you can see we have, ooh. We need this to build. But we're at 3 of 3 workers now, so that's good. Our electronics numbers look good. Our power looks very good. So once we can convince these little robots to actually go and prioritize everything. Like it's, see, we have this prioritizing. It's like, I guess in a way it's kind of like, God, what's that game? RimWorld! Or any of those similar ones. You can't have it prioritize everything or it gets confused. But here we go, maintenance facility. Hooray!